Welcome to part 2 of our Transaction Desk web forms, how to create and submit an offer and a deal. In this session, we're going to learn how to import MLS system data into our transaction kit. We're going to learn how to create a new purchase transaction using the 5-step wizard, how to customize the deal, how to customize the signing and send for signatures using Authentisign, how to sign back an offer and do a final acceptance, how to complete a deal checklist, and finally, how to send to TFN Deals Department. Okay, so we're going to get started. We're going to create a new offer using Transaction Desk, and there's 2 ways of doing it. The first way is creating a new transaction directly in Transaction Desk. So you can go in, and then at the top left corner, you can create a new transaction here. The other way, and most convenient way, is to do so directly via the listing itself. So we are, for this example, I am the cooperating agent representing the buyer, and my clients are making an offer on 1 Massey Square, Unit 1902. We are going to create a new transaction from the MLS listing via the link above. So you're going to select Web Forms /Authentisign. And when you do so, it will open up the transaction wizard and prompt you to create a new transaction. So the first field is the name. We're going to customize the name, and I like to label it as a purchase. And we're going to use TFN standard template, which is a TFN co-op sale condo. We're going to import the data from the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. It's a condo property, and the MLS number is automatically pre-populated. And add me as the cooperating salesperson. We're going to use the wizard. So the wizard is essentially a very simple and straightforward form and way to collect the data, which will then be pushed into each individual form itself. So we want to use the wizard, and we're going to select create. And here we go. It's open up the wizard. The format of this wizard consists of 5 steps. It's pretty easy. Just go through and complete the form's questions as much as possible. So it's a residential sale. The street number is number 1, Massey Square. MLS number is here. It's a condominium, Unit 1902, Toronto, Ontario. The postal code. We have the list price. We're going to insert our purchase price of $450,000. Going to add a deposit of $50,000. Now you can complete this information if it applies to you. Now there are, in most cases, there are Schedule Bs that consist of brokerages, deposit disclosures as required by REBA. So we're going to go into the listing because it doesn't automatically transfer into the kit itself. So we want to see if they happen to have a Schedule B available for this property, and they do not. If they do, the schedule will appear at just above the listing itself. You would then select the schedule, download it, and upload it to the transaction kit, which I will show you once we get to that part where you would upload it. Now, there are 2 ways of moving to the next step. If you select the Save and Exit button at the bottom, it will do exactly that. It will save and exit you out of the wizard. To stay within the wizard, you want to make sure that you select the button next. And here are our critical dates. So we have our contract date, the expiry date of the listing. We're going to insert the offer date, which is today. It will be irrevocable until tomorrow. Our closing date will be March the 15th. And our title search date will be 2 weeks prior, March the 1st. Next. Here we have all of our contacts. We have ourselves, TFN Realty is the cooperating brokerage. We have the listing brokerage. We have the seller's name. We have the cooperating salesperson and the listing salesperson. What we don't have is the buyer. So we want to add that contact to the transaction. If you don't have the contact as part of your contact database, you can create the new contact here, or you can add an existing contact. So my buyer is existing, Susie Buyer. I will add her. I just want to make sure that all of her information is correct and accurate. Save. And then we'll move on to the next. So here we have all of our forms that form part of this kit. Again, if there are documents that you don't need, such as the buyer representation agreement, because you have already previously completed this, you can just leave that out for now. Select next. Here are our documents. Now, this is where you would add the Schedule B that you had saved to your computer from the listing. But in this case, this particular listing does not have a Schedule B. You can always call the office or the listing broker himself and ask him if there's a Schedule B available. Select done. So here we go. We are in our transaction dashboard for this purchase. We want to now go into the forms and customize it. So we're going to go into the agreement of purchase and sale. Now here we want to go through to make sure that all of the fields and the information that we want to include in this offer is within the agreement and make any changes. So this agreement of purchase and sale is dated today. Buyer is Susie Buyer. Peter Henry McCarthy is the seller. It's suite number 1902, located at 1 Massey Square in Toronto. We can take this out. In the city of Toronto. The legal name of the condominium corporation. We have the unit number 02, level 18. We have the parking. Do we have a parking? We have one parking spot. It is rental. And it's $55 a month. So it's not included. I'm going to leave this out. $450,000 is our purchase price. We have $50,000 in deposit, and it will be upon acceptance. Schedule A, here you would insert B. Oh, we need to add the listing brokerage's name. Copy the check payable. If we have the, irrevocable by the buyer until, say, 5:00 p.m. tomorrow. Completion date is March the 15th. If you have the email for the listing salesperson. I'm just going to gather that. Fax number, if you have, you can add that as well. Chattels included, you can take that from the listing. Same with the fixtures excluded and any rental items. Common expense, we'll add that. Which includes the following. It includes water, heat, hydro. Sorry. Am I missing something? Building insurance, cable TV, central A, air conditioning. And cable TV. Parking lots are described as following. You can add the one rental item at $55 a month. HST is included. The title search date. Okay, we'll continue. Here's all this information. Okay, Schedule A. So we're going to add our clauses. Now, if you happened to see the first video, if you have your own personal standard clauses, you can customize a transaction kit with your standard clauses by taking TFN's transaction kit, cloning it, adding your clauses, and saving it. For this example, we don't have any custom clauses, so we're going to add just a couple of quick clauses here. So we're going to use the system clauses in English, and we're just going to pull one up quickly. Search it by key name, keyword, balance the purchase price. Okay. And you get the idea. So you're going to add all of the clauses that you need for this transaction. Oops. Now, you can, we've finished the agreement of purchase and sale. You can exit out. It will automatically save, but just to make sure, let's save it from here. So you're going to select your file, scroll down to save. Excellent. And now we can exit out. Back to, our transactions. So we're going to go back in, and you're going to complete all of the forms that you need for this particular offer. And now we're going to send for signing. So you can send individual forms for signing directly from the transaction dashboard, or you can go into signing and create a signing file. So we're going to call this one One Massey Square, 1902, offer for buyer signatures. I'm going to add this to a transaction, and we're going to save it. Now we want to add all of the documents and forms that we would like our buyer to sign. So you would add the agreement of purchase and sale, confirmation of co-op. We're going to pretend that we've already completed all of these forms, working with a realtor, etc. So we've added all of the files that we want. Close. And now we're going to flag them for the signers to sign. So we're going to add myself, Diana Victoria Quinn. I am the listing salesperson going to save that. I'm going to add, let me see here. I'm going to add the seller. I'm going to add the listing salesperson. I'm going to add the buyer. No, I'm just going to add the buyer. Sorry. And now I'm going to ignore that listing brokerage, buyer, Diana, buyer. Okay. Now we're going to flag where everyone needs to sign. So it automatically puts Susie Buyer in the buyers. Places to sign, her signature here, the date. Buyer signs here and dates. Now I need to sign the commission trust. Go. Gonna add my signature flag here. Oh, sorry. Yep, cooperating. I don't need the date. Schedule A. Listing brokerage and the buyer. Now, we're pretending as though this has already been completed. We're just adding the signatures here. So no, the flag went in the wrong spot. So cooperating brokerage, date, buyer, 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 buyer. Great. I'm going to select next. And it's going to send immediately. Okay. Great. So now we're in the AuthentiSign screen. And we want to see the status of the documents that we sent out for signatures. So as you can see here, it says 2 of 2 completed. It's 100% completed. I have signed, the buyer has signed, the documents are done. Now, within the signing section itself, you can view the signed PDF. You can download the documents directly from here as well. We're going to go into our transactions. And once the documents come back signed, the forms come back signed, they automatically go into your documents file. So all of the documents that are signed by your client, not necessarily accepted, but signed by your client, will go into the documents folder here. Now, we can take it a step further and we can send these documents directly to the listing broker and submit it to him for his client's acceptance. So what we can do is we can take, go into AuthentiSign. We're going to create a new signing kit. I'm going to call it One Massey Square 1902 Seller Acceptance. Going to select purchase, the transaction, and save it. Now we want to add documents. Now, in the transaction here, you'll see the documents that are labeled. Forms are the blank unsigned forms from our kit. The document, the ones that are labeled that they've been in the document file, are the documents or the files that have been signed by our buyer. So we want to attach the documents. So we want to send the listing brokerage now the agreement of purchase and sale. So we're going to add this. And we're going to send them the confirmation of co-op and representation. And we are going to send $801, but I don't see it here in this kit. Okay, so we now have sent all of our forms to our buyer for signatures. And we can see the status of this in our Authentisign in the pen icon section. And we can see here that 2 of 2 participants have completed the signing. If we click on the signing kit, you can view the signed PDFs. You can also download them or save them to the cloud as well. I'm going to go back into our transactions and select the One Massey Square purchase transaction. Here again are all of our forms that we have completed as part of this transaction. Once we've sent them out for signatures and our client has signed them via Authentisign and they have come back to us completed, they are automatically moved into the documents section. Okay, these are not fully accepted documents. These are just documents that our client has signed. So for this example, we now want to send the agreement of purchase and sale to the listing sales representative to ideally get acceptance from the seller. So what we can do is we can go into signing and we can create another kit. I'm going to add a new signing name. We're going to call it seller final acceptance. Save. We're going to add, now it says here, add a document or a form. So again, a document is a form that has been sent out to our client. They have signed, we have received it back. A form is just a blank form that has not been signed by any of our clients yet. So we want to add a document. Oh, sorry. Documents, the transactions. Okay, so we've now sent the documents out to our buyer to be signed. Once the documents have been signed or have not been signed, you can always refer to the Authentisign section, the pen icon for the status of that signing. So for our purchase, One Massey Square, 1902, you can see here that 2 of 2 participants have completed the signing and it's complete. So we'll go into our transactions, back into the main transaction for this purchase. So again, here we have a detailed overview of this purchase, of this trade. We have all of the forms that formed part of this transaction that we then went in to customize and add clauses. Once we send these forms out to our client for signatures and they come back, they're automatically placed into the documents folder. So these documents here are the forms that have been signed by our client. However, we need to take it a step further and now take these documents and send it to the listing sales representative for ideally his seller's acceptance. So we want to create a new signing. Do that here. I'm going to call this seller acceptance. We're going to add the transaction to it as well, which is the One Massey Square purchase. I'm going to save it. Now we can add a document or a form. So keyword here, add a document or a form. Again, the form was the form template that we went in to customize. We added our clauses and the agreement of purchase and sale, all of the critical dates, etc. A document is the form that we then sent out to our client or buyer who then signed it, which is now ready to go to the seller for acceptance. Okay, so we want to send it. We want to send the agreement of purchase and sale, Form 801, form working with a realtor, confirmation of co-op. So you would attach all of that. Schedule B as well. So we have attached it. And now we want to add the signers. You can do this two ways. You can email the agreement of purchase and sale after you register it with their office, or you can add the agent signature to it, or you can add it as a read-only version, or you can add it for final acceptance. It's up to you how you want to send it to the listing broker. So you would add your signers, your participants to the transaction. So we can add from the transaction. We know that the listing salesperson is Brian. We're not going to add the seller. We're going to let the listing salesperson send this to his seller directly. Select. And we're going to add Brian's initials here. And we're not going to send it to him. We don't want him receiving this, just for examples. But yes, you can send it directly to him this way. So I'm going to go back. We're not going to save this. And we're going to go back into our transactions. So now we have received all of the documents back from Brian. Perhaps it went back and forth a couple of different times for various signbacks, but we received the final acceptance from Brian. We now have a conditional deal. We want to send this now to TFN's deals departments. So how do we do that? We're going to use the checklist as our way of sending each and every one of these documents to the deals department. So here you will find the checklist for this transaction. You can also select it here, or you can use the shortcut if you happen to have it on your main screen. So what we want to do is now attach all of these required forms to the transaction. Okay, so we have the deal transaction form. Now I've saved them all to my desktop. If you happen to use a cloud, you can save it there. So I am going to upload from my computer to my desktop, and I have here the TFN deal form. I have the agreement of purchase and sale, the accepted agreement of purchase and sale. I have the confirmation of co-op. I have the deposit receipt. Here it is. I have the buyer rep. I believe I have the buyer rep. Here we go. I have the FINTRAC ID. I have the FinTrack receipt of funds. Okay. Now, all of these documents have now been automatically submitted to our deals department. So now the documents have been sent to our deals department for review. And as you can see, I receive notification once the deals department has reviewed and approved all of the purchase documents. So for this example, this purchase happened to be conditional upon financing. And I now have a waiver that I have to submit to the office. I can do so a very convenient way by emailing it via this icon. Now, when I click the email upload icon, it will present to me a unique email address specific to this transaction. I can open up directly from this box, or I can go into my email, copy and paste. So I'm going to open up in my email client. And it's sent here, it pre-populated the specific unique email address. I'm going to rename this email as financing condition waiver. I'm going to attach the waiver. Let's just pretend it's the buyer rep file. And we are going to send. Now it does take a little while to process. So while we wait, we can speak about using this icon, this email upload, as sort of your method of communication with the deals department. If there's anything that you need to say or upload in regards to the file, you can do so via this icon. So we're going to go out and go back into the transaction, and we can see here that the document has been received and has now been placed in the documents folder. Okay. Now, when we go to the documents folder, we can turn this in to the office by simply submitting it. The documents have now been sent to the deals department and have been reviewed and fully approved as indicated here. And now for this example, let's say this deal is conditional upon financing, and we have to turn in the financing waiver. There are the easiest way to do so is to submit it. You can either upload it as a document if you have it completed. So you can upload the waiver here, select the file, or you can email it to this unique email address specific to this kit. But the easiest way would be to add it as a document here. Then you want to turn this document into the office, meaning sending it to the deals department. So we go to documents. We now want to submit the buyer up to, the financing waiver. Let's pretend this is the waiver. You're going to select submit.